Hello my Scrappy friends, it is Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters and thank you for joining me for another Scraptember layout. This is day number 12 and the prompt for this one is enamel dots, NUVO drops and sequins. And I just managed to sneak in some enamel dots and some NUVO drops, but I almost did forget the NUVO, I will admit that. You will see those sneak on right at the very end, which to be fair is when I would normally put them on at the end, but I had forgotten them. I came back later and snuck those on after my layout had been completed. So today I am working with this super beautiful collection called Hello Honey from Rosie's studio. Katie and I have been so lucky to be invited as guest designers for the 2 new releases that came out in September. We have been working it came out in August, sorry. We have been working all of August and all of September with the 2 beautiful collections, Jumping in Puddles, and this one here, which is Hello Honey. And they have been so amazing to work with. There are so many things included in these gorgeous collections. And as you can see, I am really making the most of the pattern papers with this layout. It is so much fun. I started off by drawing a circle on cardstock and tracing around it and then hand cutting out all the circles in the different pattern papers. So I used the 6x6 paper pad and cut 2 circles from each color, and then I cut those circles in half. Now you can see that the circles were just a teeny bit too small to fill the full 12x12 strip across, but it's only out by like the tiniest amount, a couple of millimeters. So as long as you kind of spread your circles across, you don't notice, or half circles, semicircles, you don't notice too much that it's not quite all the way to the edge. I also distressed the edges of the paper just to give it that little bit of texture. I ummed and ahed about, drawing there's the circle I used to trace, by the way. I ummed and ahed about stitching around the edge of each semicircle or hand drawing a border around the edge of each semicircle, but I was really nervous about what color to use. I think perhaps a white pen may have looked nice, but I think a black pen would have been a little bit too dark, and I was really undecided. So because I was undecided, I decided to not do it because I would rather not. You can't really take it back once you start, and I didn't want to mess it up, and I was really quite happy with how this was looking. The paper I'm using in the background, it's not a flat matte white sheet of paper. It is a 49er market piece of paper, and it's kind of almost like a cloudy effect. It's kind of, I don't really know how else to explain it, almost like white watercolor paint on top of it almost. And I just really liked that it wasn't completely flat and it wasn't like just a flat matte sheet of paper. It just had that nice little extra bit to add to this layout. The pictures are of me singing. I am singing at a jazz festival. If you follow our channel or you've been watching Scraptember, I have done a similar layout with similar photos before. Not the scallop photos, but just like the topic. This was my 10th year of going to this particular jazz festival. So I have definitely featured photos of myself singing before. I don't know how many more years I will keep going, hopefully a few more yet, but we really love the holiday, but it's just a little bit far. It's about a 12-hour drive to get there, and it's a free performance, so it's a bit of a long way, but I do love to do it. It definitely brings me a lot of joy. So yeah, my clusters up here, I actually got a little bit worried with this top cluster. It started to become just a whole bunch of stuff stuck on the page. And I remember hearing once someone describe that concept of like a sticker sneeze, where you just kind of throw up your stickers or sneeze your stickers just all over the paper. And I got a little bit nervous that that's what I was doing up here. I had all these elements that I wanted on the page, but there was nothing that was sort of basing them and keeping them cohesive and keeping them together. So that's why I pulled out that word phrase and made sure it sort of laid across a couple of the a couple of the ephemera, and kind of pulled that a bit more together. And that was also why I pulled out that bee, so that there's a bee on top of the purple flower, but then there's another bee as well next to the larger cluster of flowers now, helping to kind of draw that back in together. I'd stuck down too many things too far apart from each other, that I needed to try and bring them back in. And I think I managed to do that. It is still a little bit of a sticker sneeze everywhere, but I think I managed to kind of pull it back in a little bit. I think it's because I also stayed within that sort of that purple semicircle. I didn't spread out too far. I think I managed to pull it back in again. So I was a little bit more conscious of that when I was working with this bottom cluster. I'm only doing these 2 clusters. It's a bit of a diagonal line, a little bit of a diagonal effect. So I was a little bit more conscious when I was working with these ephemera pieces down the bottom here, to make sure that I don't spread them too far out. Sorry if you heard that chaos in the background. That was just my husband calling out something because my son didn't want to miss something. And it's like, Jack, it's starting. And my son's little feet going, oh no, run as fast as he can to make sure he doesn't miss it. So sorry if you heard that in the background. Just popping on some enamel dots. So here is the prompt for Scraptember enamel dots. I'm getting those on. So the rest of the layout is like nothing to do with Scraptember. It's just a super beautiful layout using the gorgeous Hello Honey collection. But I am putting on quite a few enamel dots, so I definitely have got those featured. And then I quickly popped on a title and a few of the little puffy hearts. Also, don't forget that there is a discount code. So it's in the description box down below. It is Katie, Katie, all in capitals, HH for Hello Honey, and the number 10. So Katie, HH, 10. Here I am now. I'd actually finished. I'd put on my splatters and everything, and now I'm coming back with some NUVO drops because I had forgotten to add them. Now, the prompt absolutely does not mean you need to use all 3. You don't need to use NUVO drops and enamel dots and sequins, and I did not use sequins, but I had intended to use the NUVO drops because I have them and they're beautiful and I hardly ever use them, and I thought that would be super fun to add onto the page, but I had forgotten. So I am glad that I remembered to come back and sneak those on. This is actually another really good way to pull it all together, because by putting those dots in between the little pieces of ephemera, it kind of fills in the space and pulls it back together again, which I think actually was a huge help in this case. So that was awesome. And as you saw, I used 4 different colors. So I used white, I used gold, I used a light blue, and I used a darker blue as well. So I had so much fun making this layout. I think it is super, super cute, and I'm definitely going to do this one again. I love the way it can showcase so many different pattern papers all on one page. And it really just used up the 6x6 paper pad. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon.